Well, hello, friend, and welcome to another episode of Van Life Living in New York. You know, I come out here today, I was talking to the Lord on the way out, and I was like, Lord, what am I supposed to say today? And he said the same thing you always do. Just talk. I don't think about what to say. What did Jesus tell you? Jesus told you when you go before your judges, don't think about what to say, and he'll give it to you at that very hour. So I made this commitment with God years back, and every day that I possibly can. There are days where I can't because things that go on. But for the most part, 7 days a week, 365 days a year, I come out to the park somewhere or outside away from everything and everyone to give God time. Sounds crazy, right? But it works. It has worked for me. And this is what God told me to do, and I did. And so I've made this commitment. And it's like I said, it's not that I do it every... There are days that because of taking care of my mother or something comes up in life, I can't make it. But almost every day, I'm in the woods. And not that I do a video every time, but most of the time I do a video too. So this is my commitment to God. And I know that you'll realize that I don't have a huge amount of followers. And they don't, even the followers I don't have a huge amount of views on my videos. And it really doesn't matter to me. Because I really don't do this for anybody except for God. Yet because I do it for God, then I also do it for you, right? Because Jesus said, hang all the laws and the prophets and only 2 commandments. 2, and 1 is like the other. So what I do for my neighbor, I do for my Father. What I do to my neighbor, I do to my Father. So I try to love you and do the things that Christ asked, right? And I'm not good at it. I'm completely imperfect. I'm the prodigal son risen up out of hell, son of perdition, right? I've told you that over and over. So, but this is the commitment that I made to him. And in the beginning of all this, I did trade him a death for my life. Now, I don't know whether I got to give it or not, because to tell you the truth, I already gave that death. Just like Abraham had to become willing to sacrifice Isaac, I had to be willing to sacrifice myself. And I put myself in a position where I thought I was actually getting sacrificed, which I didn't. Good thing. It wasn't the way I wanted to go, trust me, friend. But, you know, that's the way God works. So now I know that, and I sometimes get worried, you know, about the things I say on here, because I'm always telling you that a publicly traded corporation is the thought of Satan made flesh. And we are sacrificing our children on the altar to our corporate gods. And there is a debt for that. If you think my Father's pleased about this nation and the way it's become the valley of Gehenna, you're completely wrong. So I'm on here telling you about how to receive the kingdom, but I'm also down here telling you why it is you want to do it now, because if you wait, you're not going to make it. A publicly traded corporation is the thought of Satan made flesh, and it is getting drugged back into the abyss. You have used it to murder your children, and nobody will admit that, but if you go look, you'll see it. It's the corporations are designed, they're nothing but a set of laws on paper, friend. They don't even exist, and you gave them rights to United States citizens here in America. In Citizens United versus the Federal Election Commission, you gave these evil things life. You know, and now they're bringing on AI with no consideration to humanity. And if you can't see that my Father's going to judge us for all this insanity, you're just not getting it. I don't know what to tell you. So it's just one of those things that this is the reason I had to promise my Father death. I have to be willing to say these things, which I've always figured are going to get me jails, institutions, and death because of all the things I say on here. It's not that I want to say them, but here's the truth, friend. There comes a time where the door to the wedding is going to close. So if you don't want the kingdom, then you don't bother seeking it. But if you want the kingdom and you don't know whether your name is on a stone yet, like it said in Revelation. In fact, friend, I'm always telling you a red letter edition of the Bible to get a Bible with what Jesus said and read, because it says right here, John chapter 12, verses 44 to 50, that it's going to be his word that judges you on the last day. That is why Judas is here. I'm here to tell you that it is Christ's words that judge you on the last day. And those of you that do not know your King, he will say, I don't know you. This whole thinking you can go hurt people and believe in Jesus was a lie. It's one thing if you make a mistake, right? I'm not talking about perfection. I'm far from perfect. So is everybody else. But if you're not going to even spend any time and do what Christ asked, Christ told you to spend time in your secret place. So you realize you've made a mistake. And you're like, Father, I see I made a mistake. And then you ask for forgiveness. And if you need to, you go, what did Jesus tell you? He said, lay your gift down at the altar, go make amends, and then come back and give your gift. So if I hurt somebody and I need to make it right, then I go make it right. Now, if you're coming in from not believing in Jesus or from a life of hell like I did, where you've done a lot of wrong to a lot of people and the list is way too long to go over and you'll never figure it all out, well, that's why Jesus died for you. He died so that we might live. You go get baptized, washed clean, and rise in the spirit of love. In fact, I was almost thinking about getting rebaptized myself because, to tell you the truth, I got baptized years ago and I spent a good bit of time doing the wrong things ever since. But I have the Holy Spirit and I have repented. And I never planned on getting a second baptism, but believe it or not, Kayla Gabbard just got baptized and she was already baptized, and she's doing it. I'm thinking, well, maybe I'll do it. I don't know. I do admire that woman and what she does. She's baptizing everybody. I think she's a wonderful person. She's definitely a person that's got God in her heart, right? And because, oh, my father loves her, I can tell you that right now. And so anyway, I just was enjoying about her the other day because some people put her down. Can you believe that? There's actually men in this world that are more prideful than Satan, and they think that they're better than women. They just didn't get it. They didn't understand that they would have been the knowledge and the woman's the heart, right? One can't live without the other. Your brain can't live without the blood that your heart pumps. A man and a woman, we might be different, but we're not more or less. What's one without the other? Now, there are people like me that don't have a heart, but God's my heart, right? So I had to give up. I'm kind of like a monk without a monastery because I say these things. My father told me that, and it's true. It's true. No woman would want to be with a man that is nailing himself to his cross every day the way I do, right? No woman in her right mind is going to want to marry a man that is kind of destined to nail himself up. And I don't mean to do it. It's just this is what my father told me my job was, just like Christ said his was. And so you might call me a counterfeit. I don't care what you call me, friend. I'm going to tell you this right now. If you're going to sacrifice your children and care nothing for my father, well, this Christian nation, it's going down. My father told you that. And I'm telling you that. And not many people hear me, so just understand that you're lucky and you have the chance to admit you're wrong and change your mind right now. Because it's coming, friend. I've told you, I've showed you this layout. I've showed you all the earthquakes that are set up across this nation, from the Cascadia fault line to San Andreas to the one under Missouri. I forget the name of it all of a sudden. That's the biggest earthquake in the history of America, and it's coming due again. You realize that, right? It reversed the flow of the Mississippi River, and you all are acting like you're self-righteous. Friend, I hope you're repenting. I hope you're admitting you're wrong and changing your mind. Where do you think John would have been sitting in that boat? New York Harbor? Where all the stuff came and went to her shore? Can you see the truth? I hope so, friend. I want you to seek and find this kingdom. It's here to have. But those that do not seek will not find. And then you will not be carrying a white stone with your name on it, which Jesus clearly told you in Revelation you would be. So they didn't have, that's a ticket to the kingdom. They didn't have paper tickets back in the day, right? So you might get a stone with your name on it. Well, a white stone is you've been washed in the blood of the Lamb, but you're in relationship with him. This isn't about you being like, oh, I'm going to go and believe Jesus died on the cross for me, and then I'm going to go sleep around and hurt women and trash people but I don't have to worry about it because once saved, always saved. Those are serpents, friend. Anyone that says that, I'm calling you a serpent. You're a snake, and you're killing my Father's children because you're like a snake in the grass. You're calling and crying on around. See, people think of grass as like this mowed grass this tall. No, friend, back in the day, grass was this tall, right? So a snake could hide in the grass. So stop thinking like your modern day yard and think of a snake in a field. That's a snake in the grass, hiding its thoughts from God. Are you hiding your thoughts from God because you're doing things that aren't right and you know you're hurting other people, or you know it's against God's laws? Because if so, there's a debt for that at the end of the age. I've never lied to you about any of this. These preachers, they'll lie to you because they love their serpent tongues. They love to tell you half-truths. I'm telling you what Christ said. He told you that he was the vine, you are the branches, and the Father's the gardener. And if you're fruitful, meaning you're doing something, you're loving your neighbor as yourself, well then my Father will prune you and make you even more fruitful. But if you're like James said, where faith without works is dead, then dead limbs get gathered up and thrown into the furnace. Do you understand that when I put those two together for you? Are you grasping any of this? So if you're not going to care about anything and you're going to be of selfishness, which is of Satan, then my Father's casting you into the darkness to pay all that's due. He told you if you do not forgive, you would not be forgiven. Right in that parable, he told you those he gave forgiveness to, if they went out and judged others, that he was going to call them wicked servant and cast them into prison to pay all that's due. I'm not saying eternity, but you're paying what's due. Do you understand that? Go read that parable and see if it doesn't say that you, a Christian, is going to pay what's due. And when you want to start understanding what's due, maybe you ought to remember where Jesus said that those that didn't know any better would be beat with few blows, but those that knew better would be beat with many blows. If you're a Christian, you're standing on the steps of the temple and you're judging people like a self-righteous hypocrite, and you're not forgiving anybody their debt, do you think my Father's forgiven you yours? Did you read anything out of this here that this man said? Because this here's your king. The red letters, that's your king. If you're Christian. If you're Paulianity, I don't know what to tell you. You've listened to liars lie. Jesus told you, I'm going to speak in parables so they don't understand. They will be forever hearing and not hear. Have you been hearing and not hearing, friend? They will be forever seeing and not perceiving. You know why? Because they weren't seeing what Jesus said. They weren't listening to these red letters, and you were listening to these serpents in your pulpits lie to you like the tooth fairy. My goodness, friend, I hope you're not. And I keep saying this, and I hate to say these things, but I want you to find this kingdom, and I want you to find it here. If you'll do what Christ asked and put your thoughts before him and spend time in your secret place, you will find a greater kingdom. I'm not saying all these things to scare you. I'm saying them because I want you to enter this greater kingdom that you can have right here, right now. Because I don't have to hide my thoughts from God. I'm no longer a snake in the grass. Look, Lord, here is your prodigal son risen up out of perdition. I put my thoughts before him. I'm not perfect, not at all. But you know what? Christ died for me, and I spend time in my secret place, and I don't go out and intentionally hurt people. And I intentionally put my thoughts before God so I don't crawl back into the darkness. I couldn't get out of the darkness. I was exactly like Jesus' parables, where he said that you would leave your house empty and the demons would return and bring friends. That's what happened to me over and over again, because I wasn't getting what the church was saying, because the church was not telling you the truth. Jesus told you the truth. If they call him a liar, they are indeed the liar, because my king did not lie. He told you the kingdom was here. It's not something you'd observe, that it would be not said to be here or there, but the kingdom of God would be said to be within you, because the Holy Spirit, the voice of God, is going to testify to you about himself by testifying to you about the Son, because the Son told you in this Bible, and your preachers are liars and tell you that God quit talking 2,000 years ago. That's because they quit listening 2,000 years ago, and they started teaching you not to listen 2,000 years ago. Stop it. You get to know your king inside out, upside down, and backwards, and see if the things I'm telling you he didn't say first. He told you, be glad I go to the Father. Because I go to the Father, the Spirit of truth will come to you, my friend, not to me, not to your preacher, your pope, to you. That if you're his disciple. If you're not his disciple, get the hell out of his house and stop it lying and saying that you believe in Christ. You don't. Jesus himself said, call no man teacher, I'm your teacher. Get to know this man. Then he said, a student is not greater than his teacher, it's enough to be like him. You're not going to be perfect, and it's hard. You're going to start off tiny as a mustard seed, this kingdom, right? And as you do the things he say and apply his sayings, you're going to build your house on a rock, and then your little seed is going to turn into a sapling, which is going to turn and get bigger, and then all of a sudden it's going to turn into a mustard tree, and you're going to be big enough to give shade and rest to your neighbor, like the mustard tree was big enough to give shade and rest to the birds, right? So the parable is talking about shade and rest to your neighbor because you are doing what Christ asked. You are loving your neighbor as yourself. So when your neighbor is hungry, you feed them. When they're naked, you clothe them. Because they need help, you help them. And I'm not saying you can save the world. But please tell me that you aren't just loving those who love you. Because Jesus said, loving those who love you, that's easy. Even the sinners and tax collectors do that. What credit is that to you? So please tell me, if you call him king, you know him. And you're doing what he asked. I used to do those things. I'm not doing them anymore. And it was him that put me to it. How? By putting me in a psych hospital. I believed I talked to God, and the world called me crazy. Do you think I'm crazy, friend? I'm crazy for Christ. I'm a fool for Christ. And you know what? I'll let them put me back in. I don't care. You know what I'll do while I'm in there? I'll preach Jesus while I'm in the psych hospital, prisons. It doesn't matter. No matter what you do with me, people are going to know Jesus. Just ask the last time I was in there, what do you think I was doing? I was helping people. I was in there with a woman, a girl, young girl, and I ain't going to bring up names and all that. I don't really remember anyway. But I was helping this girl while I was in there because I was crazy. Helping her because her parents got divorced and they used her as a weapon and against each other. And so she ended up, she was doing her own physical harm to herself. So I was trying to get her to understand, to get to know Jesus. I'm hoping that when she came out of there, because her parents obviously failed her, ridiculously so, just like a lot of 50% of America's getting a divorce. You're cutting your children in half and using them as weapons against each other. If you don't think that makes my father mad as hell, you just ain't getting nothing, because Jesus told you, don't get divorced. And in the past age, you might not have understood. But friend, I sure hope you're looking at what's going on, how it is that the psych hospitals are full of your children because our own selfishness is killing our kids. Do you get that? So, and it's these corporations feeding you this lie that it's all about you because they don't want you to look at the truth. They don't want you to follow God. They think they are God. But let me tell you something. Bill Gates, you ain't God. You ain't nothing. And when you go into your underground ark, you're getting buried in it. I'm telling you the truth. I ain't here lying to you about nothing. Now you know why I say I'm going for jails, institutions, and death. I don't care. I was with my father in the beginning. You will not steal creation from him. I promise you that. If you Christians won't stand up for what's right, well then you will not enter my Father's kingdom. Because Christ told you so. Because you will not be carrying a white stone that nobody knows your name is on but yourself. So I'm not asking you to believe in me, because you don't need to believe a word I said, but you need to believe every word this man said. And if you don't know every word I've been telling you is what he said, you don't know your king. Satan is going to have a field day with you on the last day. Do you get that? Because you're going to be like standing before your judge and you're going to see all the things you did wrong, and then Satan's going to start rattling these things off at you. Do you think Satan does not know the words in red? I'm telling you right now he does. And he's going to use them against you. He's going to be like, why did you call him Lord, Lord and not do what he said? And there's going to be your defender not being able to say nothing because you never got to know him. He's going to be like, I'm sorry you got to line up with the goats. I was hungry, you didn't feed me. I was naked, you didn't clothe me. I was sick in prison, you didn't visit me. All these people needed love, and you love nothing but yourself. Christ told you all this. I'm not saying things on here to make you feel warm and fuzzy, Fred. I'm on here trying to get you to understand that this is about rising in the spirit of love. And when we can't even put our children ahead of ourselves, there's no way in hell that we're going to put our neighbor ahead of ourselves. That's the truth. And I'm not talking to you from a man that did it right. I'm divorced. I had 4 stepchildren, and they all got harmed in my divorce. That's the truth. And I was a sad, selfish man, a drunk, a man that did drugs, a man that's done it all wrong. I'm not on here judging none of you. I'm the son of perdition. I'm here to tell you the truth so that you can go look before it's too late. Because I do have this kingdom. The truth is, God puts me to this, but it's not that I really want to be doing it. Because I really am in joy. I really do love my Father, and I really do love you. And I don't care what you did yesterday. I love you because my Father loves you. And you know why I was hurting people yesterday? Because I didn't know any better. You know why you were hurting people yesterday? Because you didn't know any better. Jesus came to teach you better. And he came to die so that you might live. See, the problem is, as long as I'm holding you accountable for yesterday, logically, I have to be accountable too. Right? So Christ told me exactly how to do this so that I could have this greater kingdom right here and be in relationship with my Father. He said, if I forgive you your debts, I'll be forgiven mine. It says right in the Lord's Prayer, forgive us our debts as we forgive those who debt against us. Meaning that if we do not forgive them their debts, we will not be forgiven our debts. Do you understand the Lord's Prayer? Have you ever listened to it while you were saying it, while the serpents in the pulpits lied to you? Because this is the man that judges you, not your preacher. Half of them dudes have turned into atheists now. I've seen preachers that were preachers for years go become atheists. They never got to know Christ. They never became willing to die in order to live. They were nothing but selfish sons of Satan the entire time up there preaching, and they weren't making them enough money, so they wanted to go do something else. They were all selfish. I don't care. I forgive them. My Father's going to. But you ought not trust your salvation with people like that. When you've got Christ to be in relationship with right now, because the Holy Spirit will testify to you about him. Do you believe that? Do you understand that Jesus told you in your faith you were healed? Now, I'm not healed from all this stuff. I really don't care. It doesn't matter to me. I told my Father, whatever you need to lay on me, you lay it on me. Whatever I got to endure, I'll endure for you. I don't know how to do it. But he's worth it. Because in the beginning, there was only God. He created all this to know love by experience. Your worst punishment for criminals is prison, unless you're going to kill them, right? But so your worst punishment is prison, and then your worst punishment of your worst punishment is isolation. So because my Father's children don't want to behave themselves, they want my Father to stay in isolation forever. Do not ask for a seat in my Father's kingdom if you think that's an acceptable plan. Do not ask for a trip into the kingdom unless you're willing to be in relationship with him here by seeking him. Red letters. The kingdom is like a treasure in the field that you'll dig up. Red letters, right? Here, that's not, there we go. Red letters, that's the field. And you dig up the treasure, which is Christ. And when you find him, you're going to love what you find. You're going to sell everything you have. You're going to buy the field and rebury the treasure. But you're going to bury it right here in your heart. And then Christ is going to be right here in your heart. That's where he's at, friend, right in my heart. He's also the pearl of great price. I was searching for the pearl of great price. And I found the perfect pearl. So I sold everything I had and I bought the pearl. And now where do I keep it? In my heart, right? All these kingdom is like statements were about you doing what Christ asked, finding a greater kingdom here because he will be in you and you'll be in him. And you'll be a schmuck like I was, and he'll forgive you every last ounce of your debt. And you will find joy, peace, and love in every day. And even when the world looks like it's going bad, you'll be like, it's a good day, Lord. And he'll be like, I know it is, son. And then you'll be like, doesn't matter what's going on. Friend, I got all kind of physical challenges. I don't care. You just don't get it. My Father's the greatest ever, and his love is greater than anything you can ever imagine. But I can't explain this to you unless you seek it out. But if you want the kingdom, the bread of life, it's like going to your neighbors for bread late at night. And if you go knock on the door to the kingdom all lightly, he's going to yell down, go away, the hour's late, I'm in bed with my children. You don't take that answer, friend. He told you, Jesus himself told you, don't take that answer. He said, you've got to knock out of sheer audacity. This is Christ's words. Christ told you, knock out of sheer audacity. Be like, Father, give me my bread. Until he gets up. And then finally he'll be like, all right, I'll come down and give you some since you not got me up out of bed. You know what's really happening? It's you really deciding and realizing you want this bread. You want this thing called love. You want this forgiveness. At first, you don't think you do. Friend, if you're a sinner like I was, some of that sin felt right good. I'm not lying to you. Who says sex is terrible? I ain't lying to you. But when I do those things, it hurts other people. Right? And if I'm hurting my Father's children, I'm hurting my Father. If I'm disrespecting them, I'm disrespecting him. There's no way to do it without doing the other. Because Jesus told you one is like the other, and anyone that calls that a lie has called their king a liar if they're Christian. If you're not Christian, you don't believe in Jesus anyway, you'll pay your debt. I can't do anything about that because you won't look at the truth of why Christ is logical. Because it is logical that if you're going to hold your neighbor unforgiven, that my Father holds you unforgiven too. Christ came, my Father came down in the Son and died for you on that cross. And he went through all of hell in order so that you could be forgiven and have this wonderful life. I'm a man that did it all wrong. I still do it. Today I got selfishly, I didn't say anything wrong. I just got like blah, 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 blah. I'm telling you, friend, I am a selfish, ignorant man. I come into this wilderness all the time to give to my Father my thoughts because my thoughts get so ridiculous so quick. And I'm like, Father, forgive me. This time I didn't do anything to anybody. I didn't need to ask anybody for forgiveness. But quite often I do, friend. I have to lay my gift down at the altar. Jesus told you that. He told you how to make the church work. He didn't tell you to put some dude at the head to boss you around. He told you that, yeah, you've got to have a church, right? That you got to have people that take responsibility. But those people are supposed to be humble, which quite often, because people don't understand what Christ was saying, they're not understanding what humility is. They're all doing their job out of pride. You ain't nothing, friend. I'm nothing. There ain't nobody on this planet, nothing. My Father's everything. He's the Alpha and the Omega. And any one of you that think you're greater than your neighbor, you think you're greater than my Father. That's not a good plan. You might want to figure out what humility is. It's recognizing that my Father loves all of his children, and I mean the ones that are suffering, because right now hurt people, and they're out hurting people because they're suffering. If you are the ones that said you know Christ, I sure hope you've decided that you're going to do something to help them out, because Christ told you to. Those are the sheep getting lined up, right? The goats, they didn't do nothing. They were dead limbs gathered up, thrown into the furnace. They were of the spirit of selfishness. The spirit of the law is the spirit of love. Christianity won't even not talk about the 10 Commandments. Most Christians don't even know what they are. I didn't. The Lord had to come to me and tell me. He told me Yom Kippur, as Judas. If you go listen, you hear how crazy people think I am. There's no reason, it's no wonder nobody listens to me, friend. Because I sound plumb crazy. But I'm telling you right now, this man is the man. And he will get you into a greater kingdom. You won't have to be like me. Nobody wants to be like me, friend. but I've still got joy, peace, and love. So it doesn't matter, being like me is a good thing. People always, when I'm out places, people are like, how you doing? I'm like, another day in paradise. It's the truth. I'm in paradise. I got the Father in my heart. He abides in me, and he gives me what I need. I don't have what I want. I have what I need. Yet I don't want anything but what my Father wants for me, because he created me to know love by experience. So what I really want is for him to know love by experience. So I give it to him, and then I try to talk to you about it so that you'll also give it to him. Because in it, you'll find great love yourself. When you start loving and forgiving others, man, this world becomes a much better place. But on here, I have to say all these hard things that make people upset and think I'm crazy. I am, right? I'm a fool for Christ. But he's worth being a fool for. He died for you, friend. Receive forgiveness. Go get baptized. Go get baptized by Kayla Gabbard or somebody. I'll do it. I'm southeastern Pennsylvania at the moment. I had a guy come up from Virginia. I baptized him. You need a baptism? Come on up. I'll give you baptized. Come on down. I don't care where you're from. I ain't got no money and I ain't in good health. But you show up, I'll baptize. I'll take you to the local river down here in Maryland or something. I don't have any indoor water supply, so you might want to do it before the weather gets too cold, friend. Otherwise, because I ain't got no swimming pools and none of that, so it just is what it is. But I want everybody, and I want you to understand what this baptism does for you. Right now, if you have not been baptized, Satan can accuse you. The moment you get washed and you go down into your watery grave and die in the spirit, it also represents being washed clean. And so therefore, it gives you a psychological dividing line in your mind that everything before that baptism is washed clean. And therefore, you've got a clean slate. Those of you that have a lot of debt like I did, you need to know that. Now, I don't have a clean slate from this last bit of debt, but that isn't the real hell I come from. I mean, when I was younger, I went through some hell, friend. I was not a good man. If any man ought to be condemned, let the Father condemn me. That's the truth. But because his forgiveness is so great, he'll forgive you all your debt. But if you want forgiveness, you got to give it. I just keep saying these things over and over because I really want you to get this. You can have this relationship right here. The more you want, the more he'll give you. But to him that much is given, much is required. And to him that gives nothing, even what he has will be taken away. Once again, those words are the words of your king, friend. Don't you listen to other people call him a liar. All right, just know that I love you because my Father loves you. That's it. May God bless you and yours.